Hello, and welcome all the way back from 2023 with maybe 2 podcasts in 24. It is so great to be here. Happy New Year, Happy New Year. Some of us walked in the door of this new year and others didn't. I can personally attest to that as my last living brother, Robert K. Blair, Sr., passed the early part of November, I apologize. And it has been very, very difficult journey thus far, but God's grace is sufficient. Let me say that again. God's grace is sufficient. So with that, I'll say Happy New Year and bid you a prosperous new year. But there are some things that goes with prosperity: preparation and prayer. Preparation and prayer. You have to be prepared and you have to pray over those things that you're indulging in, that you're engaging in. I'm not here to lecture you or chastise you. I'm simply here to encourage you and empower you with something that I see, and maybe you agree or maybe you disagree. Either way, follow, respond, engage. That's right. That's what the narrative off the cuff is all about. So let's dig right on in to this new year. It's rather interesting that we are here to celebrate a new year with things in our past. And while we remember things in our immediate past, we are very, should I say, quick to forget the things in our long past, our history. Our history, something as close to you as your family. I'm amazed at the number of kids who are growing up in this day and age who don't know their family tree. I recognize that when I was growing up and as a kid, when you would go and meet somebody or somebody would come to your house and meet your family, the first thing your elders would ask them is, who are your people? They wanted to know who they were because they wanted to know what tree you came from. They wanted to know what kind of pedigree you came from. It wasn't that you were going to be treated any different, but you would come in for something. You were coming from some kind of stock. These kids today don't know their mother's grandmother. They don't know anybody that's in the long well of their family. And that's rather tragic. But you know what? You could talk to them about any entertainer or athlete or things like that, and they can tell you their shoe size, their favorite clothing and favorite cologne, what they like to eat in the whole 9 yards, and can't tell you about their great-grandfather, their great-grandmother, or their grandfather or grandmother. And that's real tragic in this day and age. So I encourage you to teach your kids their family history. Let them know whether they are a fatherless child or whatnot. Still teach them the legacy of their family. So that is very important in this day and age. It's always been important, but it's even more prevalent in this day and age. The kids need to know that. I want to dig in about the history of our existence as African Americans. We are so quick to go and celebrate something that Caucasians put before us when it's something that we built, that we put behind us. Let me educate you to that. There's a lot of history associated with African Americans in this city, in this country, in your community, and yet in your family. Yeah, we'll get down to the pedigree. And we don't celebrate that. We don't embrace that. We don't move that forward. I am every day challenged when I get up, even when I lay down, and in the midst of my breathing, in the midst of the day, that I am challenged with the legacy of William Bill Blair, or William Skinny Legs Blair, however you want to refer to him, and that of Moselle Jordan Blair, because they taught me my history. They raised me. In spite of me going contrary to some of what they taught me at times in my life, I was able to circle back to a base. I was able to circle back to what they taught me sitting at that dinner table. I have a legacy to fulfill. I'm not my father. I am his son. And I have a responsibility for all the work that he's done, all of the sweat equity that he's poured in, not only to our family, but to our community and to our city, that as his child, as one of his children, that I have a responsibility to continue that legacy and put another brick in that legacy. I would be remiss and yet selfish if I didn't think enough of myself first and foremost, and my kids and my grandkids, and yet my great-grandkids, that I would pour into the legacy of my father, take them and show them what he worked on, what he poured into, what he built in this newspaper, and what he put into our community with his park and with the upcoming naming of the stadium. I'll get to that later. But I'm always careful to remind my grandkids and my kids of their grandmother, their grandfather, even the great grandfather and great grandmother, and their aunts and uncles as they've poured into their lives. It's only 4 of us left, 3 siblings left, 3 sisters and myself out of 7 that started out. And so I'm grateful to be in this position as a little brother and still be here and be the driving force, or the energy, let me say that, the energy behind the Elite News. Yeah, I know you think that the publications days are over for the print medium. No, it's not. If you read, it's there. We have digital, we have online, we're all there. We still print a publication because that was my father's wish, and we're still able to do it. But with history in mind, I want you to be reminded that we forgot our history in this last election. When people don't celebrate their own, and when they don't want to embrace where they come from or where they originate, it's a problem. Let me clarify this. In this last past election, because I got to talk about it, as we endeavor to go into that election and with all of the momentum that we perceive that Vice President Kamala Harris had behind her, I voted for her. I had my reluctances, but I voted for her, and I encouraged to vote for her. Even though some of the advertising dollars didn't trickle down to us, it still didn't matter. I had a responsibility to our readers and to the community at large for us to be engaged in this political process, the civic process. But I had a problem because I recognized she didn't appreciate, nor did she embrace, the fact that she was an African American. I don't care about Caribbean and all this, Carasian and being from in the Middle East, your mother and your father from the Caribbean, you're African American. And then when you don't embrace that, there's a problem. And you were conveniently black when the struggle was put before you to those you were asking to vote for you, and the connection was poor. Then I was disenchanted with the media coverage, the larger media, the white media, those TV stations that gave all the negative reports on Trump and gave all the positive reports on Kamala Harris, and then to look at the numbers on election day that we have been hoodwinked and bamboozled. There's a responsibility that we have within our homes, within our communities, within our cities, and within society, that we need to take responsibility. Now, while we may try to encourage you to vote one way, I encourage you to vote any way, anytime possible, as a civic-minded citizen. Let's go to the city of Dallas. As you notice, over the last year, there's a great migration out of the city of Dallas. We had the mayor to come and hoodwink us with the fact that he was a Republican, but you could see the writing on the wall. I had people tell me that all along, and while I saw some of it, I didn't want to believe it until he flat out owned who he is and what he is. I won't say good luck to you, but I will say good riddance when you gone, Eric Johnson. I think it was rather irresponsible for you to play on the fact that you originated out of West Dallas and you from the neighborhood and you carry all those struggles and whatnot with it. And then you turn around and get up there and you totally go against. Since when did Negroes from West Dallas and from the hood start wearing 10-gallon cowboy hats? Since before the trail ride. You have. You went right over there with Ted Cruz and all of the other ones and Greg Abbott. And I know that you were trying to ploy and play up so that when you thought they were going to get rid of Ken Paxton, that you would be the attorney general appointee. Not going to happen. And you won't win a statewide race. Even though it's a Republican state, white folks not going to embrace you like that, bruh. You still bruh. You want to be white. You can bleach your skin more than Sammy Sosa, and you still won't be as white as you need to be with them. Bottom line, bro, know your place. Know your place. When you respect and embrace your place, then you can grow exponentially. Yeah, that's a big word for white folks use. And not to diminish white people, because there are some good ones. However, you had the city manager who left, gone to Austin. Then you had the police chief leave in tow with him. Those were two good people who were moving the 9th largest city in America forward. Crime rate was down under Chief Eddie Garcia, and the numbers were racking up as it related to T.C. Broadnax. Yes, as in any business, you can't just rail everything in every department, and they had their shortcomings in some of the code and the permits departments and things like that, but he did a tremendous job nonetheless. So now you're moving forward. You want to go and you opened up the bidding pool for individuals to come in and to apply for that job. Why would you go outside to start a whole new process? Let's talk. This is to the city council members who are there and those who are running for re-election or running for election. Hold them accountable. Kim Tolbert needs to be the city manager, not interim, but city manager. Why would you recreate this whole process and then try to add to the hiring pool when you have the individual right there in-house, in position, who can go and make the changes without having to go and learn the whole spin of the wheel again? Kim Tolbert is the candidate. She is the one to be Dallas's city manager. It's not fair, but I want you all to see who are out there going to the election booths what's going on. They're pivoting from us because our numbers are low and our engagement is low. So why not go to the next race, the brown race? And I'm not knocking anybody culturally or racially. I'm simply encouraging African Americans to get involved in the process and be aware. Don't just go vote. Be knowledgeable of what you're voting for, who you're voting for, and why it is that you're voting for them. Please know that. It is ignorant. And so as we talk about the city council elections that are coming up this year, and people are going to start getting in your face telling you what they're going to do for you, stop them right away and tell them, did you ever ask me what it is that I desire, whatever it is that concerns me as a citizen? Don't come tell me what you're going to do without knowing what I need done. And while it may not get done individually, collectively, some people are going to speak in the same tones you do, you will, and you do, that they will see that, hey, this is a collective, this is a consensus. So this is an issue that I need to move on. Quit letting people tell you what they're going to do for you and let them know what needs to be done for you. That being said, let's stick with politics. But all of the government grabbers, let me talk directly to you. Mama, daughter, grandmama, in that order. Living on, and brothers, living on Section 8 housing, getting SNAP benefits, getting WIC, getting any kind of government assistance. It's about to come to an end. Oh, y'all out there parlaying and having a great time. You on Facebook showing what you got and what you're getting. And you want government assistance. I'm not knocking you because some people need it. That's why it's in place. But you better know your vote mattered. It still matters, but you've lost your opportunity to kind of hold the gauge of how you move in society and how you move in life. Because Republicans in office have a playbook. They have a playbook. That's real. People are not sitting up here giving you Instagram or TikTok images. This is real. They're going to start swiping those programs from you. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Look out for the homeless rate to go up. Excuse me. And look out for people who are more in need of food assistance, because it's going to get out of hand. The housing market is going down while you're not able to still afford a house, but they're going to take your housing from you because you can't sit there. You can't have 1, 2, 3 generations of government assistance. People who have worked the system. Grandmama, mama, daughter, they all living in the same housing area, and they're living off Section 8. And they've just worked the system. And while grandmama might need it, mama and daughter are able-bodied. They can go to work. If you don't have a skill set, you can go get one. And what the government is going to do is put something in place where they're going to train you to some semblance of getting in to get to work. The job market is open. I drive by too many places where there are jobs available and nobody's going in to get them. I provided jobs and put jobs out there. And the minute they come in, hell, they can get a better check from the government they can get from us. More power to you, but it's not going to last long. Not for long. NFL, not for long. So just know that. You better be encouraged. What I'm saying is, this is a process of closing out, and the Republicans are going to get just what they want. And if Democrats are not smart, I'm talking to you Democrats at the local party level here in Dallas County Democratic Party level and abroad, if you all don't change your strategy and your lazy approach to minority engagement. If you notice, Hispanics are going across the street and start voting Republican. African Americans have gone across the street and voted Republican. And what I'm saying to you is the Republican Party is making a move back in Dallas County. They've already gotten the state. They're making a move everywhere because they're engaging people and listening to their voices and letting them have a voice and acting on what it is that they're hearing. Democratic Party is at the same old playbook. And if you don't change, you're going to lose Dallas County. It'll go back to being red. And a note to the Dallas County Democratic Party. While there's African-American leadership over there now with President Coleman, Cordell Coleman, and others who are with the Dallas County Democratic Party, I'm criticizing and knocking you. While I try and do my best to support you with our paper and with our narrative at the EilteNews and other black mediums here in Dallas, you do a piss poor job of getting the message out and rallying your base. You can't set up, perched up in the castle, looking down and sending out an edict without getting involved, getting out there and rolling up your sleeves and working with people. We're not talking about just the candidates having rally walks and block walks and picnics. We're talking about getting involved and getting engaged in simple everyday things and recognize where people are coming from on your base. You got to highlight your base. You can't always be dignified in making your approach with politics. Politics is nasty. It's visceral. And you have to sometimes get down there with them. You can't always be nice when they're being nasty. And you can't always be removed and be neutral when it's something that you can go full muscle on. Dallas County is in trouble for Democrats. You're going to start seeing it at the courthouse where justice will be fleeting. You're going to start seeing it in our economics and politics where policies and monies will be fleeting. Stop presenting this race of people and the Democratic Party with social programs. Damn, it's time to get into the economics of it. Social programs don't pay our damn bills unless you got a 501c3 and that's how you make your living. You got to get into the economics of it. And that's where Republican Party resonates with their party and their base because they get into the economics of it. If you ain't got no money and you ain't able to pay your bills, ain't no peace over there. There's no ability to get involved with politics and anything else because you're so busy grinding, trying to make sure you make your ends meet. When your check end right here, the next check begins right here, bringing them together. And that's a large gap, making your ends meet. Learn how to resonate with your base. Empower your base. Educate your base. Put economics into your base. They don't even spend money with when they campaigning. They send their money and spend money on flyers, mailers. Come on, man. You don't educate people to who you are. You don't come out and meet them face to face. You don't just walk up and be amongst them in the crowd. In order to be relevant, you have to be amongst the people to be relevant. Start being relevant. And I'm going to call you out as you run for office because some people have no business running for public office. Simply because you can fill out the form and apply and go and run for office does not mean you're qualified as a person. You got to have sweat equity and work in our community. You got to be involved in more things than the PTA and the damn NAACP, and I applaud them, but you got to have some sweat equity in our community. Moving on. The next thing I want to talk about is growth. Yes, 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 growth. Our pastor over at New Birth Missionary Baptist Church, third generation pastor, it went from Pastor George Wynn Pryor to Michael Pryor to his son and the grandson, Joshua Pryor. Joshua, thank you, Pastor Pryor. You are doing a tremendous job. I want to applaud you. You learn how to take the reins of a legacy and move it forward. That's what we need to do in our community and in our society is those individuals who are working off legacies, continue to fulfill them. Recognize it's more than about you. It's about the legacy that was poured before you and the work to be done within you. It's happened with me every day. And yes, it is a challenge. Sometimes you're behind the 8 ball because the shoes that you are trying to fill are so great. But the work is needing to be done. It needs to lay a foundation for those who are watching and who are viewing. I want to encourage you. And he's also the minister of one of the ministers of the year with the IMA coming up in February. IMA banquet, yes, Reverend Joshua Pryor. And he's also minister of the year coming up in February 28th with EilteNews Awards night. And we'll get to more of that in a minute. So the new IMA is doing a tremendous job over there with Dr. David Wilson, they are continuing to engage and recognize those people in our community and our society. We have to push our pastors out of the pulpit and into the community. Let's do that. Reach out to in the community. Quit putting gates up and closing the parking lot off for people to come in. Make them welcome at the church and community. No, don't let them come and pillage the church, but you come and let them feel upon the church that they may be fulfilled in their spirit, in their spiritual walk, and that you can somehow empower them to be able to get jobs and things of that nature. Not just handouts, but a hand up. Absolutely. So we've talked about these things, and I've gone over a litany of things for us to talk about. Now, let's get to the beauty of it. We have a number of celebrations. My father has been gone for some 10 years now, and I'm grateful every day that I get a chance to live in his legacy, because if it's not for my father, I recognize that people don't receive me because I'm Darryl Blair. They give me an opportunity to receive me because I'm Darryl Blair, William Blair's son. And I'm grateful for that, and I try to fulfill every component of what that is when they take the opportunity to welcome me in to their circle. However, I still have to work on the legacy of my father. And so I have to applaud trustee, Dallas Independent School District Board Trustee Maxie Johnson for moving the mantle forward and having a new $5 million stadium behind Frederick Todd Middle School, named after my father, William Skinny Legs Blair. That will take place February 3rd, 3 p.m. at Frederick Todd Middle School. Yeah, so call the Elite News. Go to www.elitenewsdallas.com and or call us at 214-775-9955. That's right. Give us a call. Come on over there with the ribbon cutting ceremony on February 3rd. It's going to be a grand day. Then we have the February 28th Elite News Awards night, the 50th annual golden anniversary of the Elite News Awards night. 50 years ago, my father started this program, and it's always Black History Month, the last Friday in, and you can look at the calendar behind us. You can look at the calendar, look at the poster, and see all the wonderful honorees. Of course, one of them is City Manager Kim Tolbert. You have a brother who's right from our community, a state trooper, Jermaine Gaspard, went to Lincoln High School. You're looking at Cynthia Williams, Judge Cynthia Williams, excuse me, Judge, I apologize, who's amongst us in NAACP. She's an honoree. You have Terry Thomas, who's over there with Chase Bank, who's done a tremendous job of educating and putting economics back into common sense back in economics over with Chase Bank. And you got Randall Bryan, a young up-and-coming brother who's into politics and the whole 9 yards. Very strategic, knows what he's doing, and he works for the betterment and for the betterment and the appeal of our community at large. Thank you. And then you have attorney Stephen Pipkin over at the Pipkin Law Firm, who is of this community. You never knew it when you look at him and talk to him, right here from the hood, but has a grand plan and a grand educational process for those who have come through him with scholarships and the whole 9 yards. So just look at some of the honorees on here, and you will be able to celebrate with them. It's a free event, February 28th, 7 p.m., Carver Heights Missionary Baptist Church, 2511 East Ledbetter. Come on out, and if the address is wrong, look it up, and you'll be able to see. This is our very first podcast, and we're going to have people on live. They're going to come on and sit, and we're going to ask them questions, and hopefully we can get J.O. and Owens Media Production Group to come on in and be able to get us some live calls. We can get question and answers going. But we want you to get involved. This program will be on YouTube, Facebook, Apple, all of those platforms. And then we also email it out in our email blast. I'm grateful to each and every one of you for following us over the years. And I look forward to you following us this year, giving me content, giving me base, and giving me response to what it is that I'm saying to you and I'm trying to impart to you. And if it's some resistance there or reception, either way, let us know. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to some preliminary sponsors, and that's none other than the Wilson Law Firm with Russell Wilson, the Pipkin Law Firm with Stephen Pipkin, the Farmers Law Firm. That's right, all these law firms. Attorney Anthony Farmer over there with the Farmers Law Group. And Eternal Rest Funeral Home with my dear friend, best friend, good friend, Bishop Gerald Weatherall. That's right. Oh, and don't forget, this program wouldn't be possible if it was not from a company and an individual named J.O. and a company called Owens Media Productions. That's right. So from the EilteNews staff, the Blair Foundation, and the Blair family, I speak for both myself and our entities. Until next time, you know what I want you to do? Get it on your mind. God bless and God keeps my